Recording. And that background I am loving. Okay. Matter of fact, let me get my little background together. So
Let's-
the kitchen. Let's see. Let's do it like that. There we go. All right. So I'm feeling fabulous today. Like I'm feeling so extra over the top fabulous because all my clients, I went to all of them are having sex, but like we are in process. And so some of them had sex. And so like I just want to do like a happy dance, like, So as a therapist, and good morning, everybody out there in the world. A lot of my work is I don't know how to say it. Gary Vee has a book called Jab, 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 Right Hook. What that would be left hook, the way I'm doing it. But and I think therapy feels like that. It's like we're doing stuff. And sometimes we don't feel it. It's because we're building basic skills. Kind of like wax on, wax off. Wax on, wax off. All right. I just need, like at the beginning, most of my couples, I just need you guys to spend some time together in the same space at the same time, preferably touching each other some type of way when you're both awake, aware, and available to be desirous of each other. That's usually the way we start. And so some of my couples said, like, yeah, you're right. That does make sense. That probably would lead to us having sex. And some of my couples are like, that makes sense, but I don't know how we're going to do it. Like, because this child has to be at this place and this child has to be at this place. And then you remember mama's coming over on Friday and da-da-da-da. And so it sometimes it just takes us a couple of sessions just to get the couple building the skill of being in the same place at the same time, awake, aware, and desirous of each other, or available for desire to happen. Yeah. Which is why, as sex therapists, I didn't even start with a topic today. I just jumped in because I'm like so excited. Because like love is real and it happens and it's happening to my clients. So I woke up feeling really good. Like it was just a really good week. Because I was thinking, did I have too much caffeine this morning? I haven't had any caffeine yet. I just am really excited because my clients are doing so well. And so I don't think we often get as therapists, we don't often get like a week where like everybody's doing well. Yeah. We have is 2 or 3 weeks out of the year, like everybody's doing well. Well, everybody's not doing well because they're in therapy. But for the most part, all my clients are moving forward down the road. So that's making me really excited with that. And so I think I want to remind couples today, and then I'm gonna give you the option to talk as well. Not just a one man, the Natalie Show. I want to remind my clients today that you have to be intentional about your sex life. It is not for a lot of couples. Every now and then, it's always some outliers, right? For most couples who are working full-time jobs and have children and parents and extracurricular activities like soccer, the church, I want to say the beta club, whatever, your old fraternity, sorority, just your organization, your professional organization. Somebody got to be serving on these boards somewhere, and it's often our clients. And so if sex is going to remain in your life, you have to be intentional about it. And I think we don't preach that enough. So I think that's the goal of women today, to preach it enough, that you have to be intentional about your sex life, that it is something that will fall off the plate. Just like if you're not careful, exercise will fall off the plate, eating well will fall off the plate. For me, going to church falls off the plate. Like, oh dang, I really said I was gonna start going back to church. It's been 2 years. It's just easier. It's just, and to think about it. Okay, I'm gonna self-disclose. Yeah, I used to be the type of Christian who went to church every Sunday and Wednesday and could not understand how people didn't do that. Now that I am older and wiser and lazier, now I'm just like, oh Lord Jesus, how am I work church in on Sunday because I need to finish up that project. I got to do this, I got to do this, and I got to go to church. And so it takes like a whole effort. Like I need to start Saturday morning. Actually, I probably need to start Friday night, prepping myself for the weekend and doing everything, going to the grocery store, figuring out what I'm gonna cook on Sunday, so that I can get up and go to church Sunday morning. And that type of intention also has to happen for a lot of my clients when it comes to sex. You know, it's not like I don't love the Lord. I love the Lord. And I know y'all love y'all partners, but it takes intentionality to live the life that we want to live. Or else we're going to take the road less traveled, the easier road, like not the road less traveled, sorry. We're going to take the easiest path of least resistance, which is on my couch watching Netflix. And my sister laughs at me because I don't even have the energy to watch a new show sometimes. I just need to watch old shows that I know what the outcome, I know what the characters. There's no place in my mind for new characters and new dramas and new storylines. I ain't even got the energy for that. And so that is the path of least resistance. And if we don't work hard not to do that, we'll fall into that. And then we're living this boring life that we don't want to live, you know. Mm-hmm. Person that we never saw ourselves being, that old person like Al Bundy sitting in a recliner. So, okay. All right, Jessica, now that I have talked for like 7 minutes straight.
And I don't know what the topic is. I don't know. If you want to, I don't know. What is there a topic?
Okay, so I think the topic is, what do you want your clients to know? Based off of what you saw in practice this week, what do you want your clients to know?
I had to talk to a lot of clients about giving themselves some grace. Ooh. And how everyone does not think the same way that you do. And a lot of times it's very hard when somebody who has been a big part of your life, something that's been a big part of your life, has to become your biggest lesson. And it might come down to, I'm going this way. And the recent actions, I'm not talking about the honeymoon stage, the recent, I told them, like the past 3 months, the past 3 to 6 months, have any of their actions, not their potential, shown that they can kind of be with you in that 1 to 2 year plan that you have for yourself, for how you want relationships to fit in. And this one, they're like, what do you want me to do? I don't know. What do you think? And as therapists, I know Natalie has preached that to me personally. And here, a lot of times people think therapy is, here are my problems. Now tell me, what do I need to do? And we can't do that. We have to ask you, how do you want things to look? And based on the cards that you're dealt right now, how do you make the next move? Like, what's the next play that you want to do? And sometimes it might mean some, I don't know, some real hard conversations and hard decisions. Yeah.
And sometimes you have to have those hard conversations with yourself. And so I know one real thing, and I feel like it's a conversation that I had this week. I can't quite remember when I had this conversation with somebody, but if you have this idea that you're a very loyal person and you're going to keep all your friends your whole entire life, you wanted to be the person that could brag that they have the same friends that they've had since the second grade, the first grade, that they met in daycare. And you've always had those friends. And then you reach the level where you realize your success is, I won't say hurting the relationships, but creating a difference in which is feeling uncomfortable for both you and that friend. And so now you're having to re-identify who you are if you can't carry some of these friendships anymore. And then, and that's a real kind of like value. Like, I never want to be this person who like got rid of old friends. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that. And yet you realize, okay, these friendships are not serving me anymore. I don't even think I'm serving them anymore, and they're having those conversations. And so it takes, I think, to keep growing, period, just personal growth, being willing to change things that we made decisions about in our childhood. because that's what happens. We make a lot of decisions about our life and our childhood, but before we have a good understanding of who we are as adults, and the world. And the world has changed. And so if you think about who you were as a child, okay, to self-disclose my age a little bit. So who I was as a child was 40 years ago. The world was completely different 40 years ago. And so any decision that I made about who I am going to be as an adult based on facts from 40 years ago, that is no longer factual. My mama liked to say, what was true yesterday ain't true today. Anytime she would change her mind on something, or she would like something and then like she would just be like, all right, what was true yesterday ain't true today. And so I think you made a very valid point of being able to level up, being able to do that self-reflection, and being able to just sit with the truth of, man, what was true yesterday may not be true today. And how do I deal with that and continue to grow and make the changes? Also, I want people to, on the same theme of being intentional about sex, is being intentional about taking care of themselves and creating the life that they want. So if you notice, I ain't got no friends. I think my life would do better if I had some friends to call on, to hang out with, to do things with, to travel with. Okay, then go out and make some friends.
Yes.
Like do it. I think I hear people or see people like, it's like, that's just the way it is. No, you're a human being. As long as you're breathing, you can change it. And so you can, I can pick a friend up at Walmart. But it's like, I usually have to keep myself from making new friends, because I will pick up a friend at Walmart. Last time I went to the movies, I sat beside this lady. And I had to tell my whole self the whole time, do not, you can't call the friends you got right now. Like, do not make a new friend. And so, like, I say that to say is people are everywhere. And people are looking for connection. People are looking for relationship, and find those people. So if you don't have the life that you want, as opposed to sitting there and just commiserating, I don't have the life that I want, this is unfair, go out and make it. Like, figure out what you need to do to make it. What skills do you need to have? And if you don't know, call a therapist. Let me say that to the right, call a therapist. And they'll help you figure it out. I think that's, that is our work, saying and looking, okay, this person wants to get to this point M on the map. Their vision board looks like this. All right, what are the skills that they need? And then the therapist usually helps you figure out and guide those skills. And so, okay, so we noticed that your friendships all have stopped at the 6-month mark. Okay, what's happening at 6 months? Let's figure that out. Let's compare and contrast. Okay, and so now our goal is going to be able to get you to have a friendship that lasts a year. And we've definitely helped people do that with romantic relationships. What's going on, what's going wrong. Are you picking the right partners for yourself? How are you picking partners for yourself? I don't want it to take you 5 divorces for you to figure out that maybe you're doing something wrong. Like, really? It took you to the 5th divorce to realize that maybe something is. And I think that's one of the biggest, as I'm gonna say, signs of maturity, is when and from a healthy space, because you can also do this from a unhealthy space, but from a healthy space, saying, okay, I know I was part of the problem. Let me figure out what my piece in this was, so that I could correct that and this doesn't happen in my life again. So, okay. All right. What else, Jessica, as I continue to monopolize the conversation? Like, I'm feeling good today. Like, I cannot tell y'all. Like, I was tired last week and I was run down. I finally feel like I caught up on all my sleep. My clients are doing well. I got money in my bank account. Like, it's fall. Now, I can feel fall coming. Fall is my happy time.
A lot of the pumpkin stuff are out, so I've seen that. I know fall is among us. When fall you were talking about
season, like,
you love
my season, football is on. I don't even watch football, but I do watch. I really watch the fans of football more than I watch football itself. Like, I just like my brothers always played football, so I like
Mhm.
being out at the games and talking to all of the people. Like, oh, I love fall. Like,
I was forced to watch
I'm trying to
football.
feel the vibe.
My mom was a girly tomboy, so football, baseball, basketball, all that, all that. I was forced to all that. Here, you're on there. But when you talked about finding friends and getting out there, if you're not a person who's like the hostess with the mostest and you're not an outgoing person, there are groups, and I've had a lot of clients coming to me about these solo trip traveling groups, meetup groups. And even if you don't want to be a part of a group, I'm seeing a lot of people trending on social media, especially TikTok, about taking solo trips and just enjoying your own company. So being intentional of, are you going on these trips for the other people, or are you going for the trip itself and what it can do for you? Because like the wonders of being on vacation can help your mindset look at things in a whole different spectrum, things that used to stress you out because you've been enclosed in a certain area or a certain environment. When you broaden up your horizons, your perspective broadens up as well. Same things with sex. If you have a certain kink that you want to explore, but you feel like your partner's not going to do it, or you don't feel comfortable, you can get in different meetup groups, different things in your area, in your community, and find people who are like-minded like you. And that's not to say I have had some clients say,
on that one, I need to say, yeah, we're not saying just go out and cheat. We are saying find the ethically responsible way to create the life that you want.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, with that, you have to kind of see where sex is prioritizing your life. And if your partner does not want to do a certain thing, is there any type of mutual ground? And start that conversation of what can we do? I know when I first started therapy, I used to preach the yes, no, maybe thing of what are like a go, what is a hard no, and what is a maybe that we can kind of revisit back and take baby steps into it. So that intention plays there is where am I being listened to? Do I have a platform? Do I have a voice in this relationship to speak? And is this a relationship where growth is accepted? If you're not in a relationship where growth is accepted, communication is going to be hard as well. So your intentions in a relationship should not always say you draw high school sweethearts and y'all in your 40s, that you're gonna have that same love, especially with responsibilities. Even without kids, if you have businesses, jobs, things you want to do, you can't lay up and play hooky all the time because bills not gonna get paid. So the intentions have to be different, but the core of the love and understanding still has to be the same. You just have to kind of customize your life based on, like I said, the cards that you're dealt. I've seen a quote, I think it was my undergrad.
Actually, what you just said is a good quote. Customize your life according to your needs.
Yeah.
Don't try to make it be like something you saw on TV or on social media. Like, customize your life according to your needs. And I think something else, man, I forgot what I was going to say. Golly, just that quick. Okay. You said something that was so good that I wanted to highlight. Is I think we don't educate enough on the fact that eroticism changes and ebbs and flows throughout the lifespan. Just your feeling of sexual and being sexual changes and ebbs and flows throughout the lifespan. Let's see, your desire for sex ebbs and flows and changes throughout the lifespan. And just because you're maybe an ebb now doesn't mean that it's not going to be flowing next week, next year, or in 2 years. And I think one of the things that I feel like I'm constantly talking to my couples about is, if y'all are going to be together for the next 80 years, I need you to understand y'all not going to be on the same page every day sexually. It's just not going to happen. It's so not going to happen. So therefore, let's have a little grace and mercy in dealing with each other and understand we're in this thing for the long haul. And so, and if it's ebbing, what kind of conversations do we need to have around that to get it back flowing? So, okay, I turn it over to you again.
I really wanted that. Well, I asked your question, but what is the most professional way of answering this? Because I was in a social group, it wasn't with any clients one weekend, and I think I was the only girl out there. And I had my little card game and trying to get guys' perspective about some sexual things or what have you. And they had made a comment that they feel like if their woman wants to try something new or does something new, I think some females might feel the same way too. It has to be because they didn't try it with someone else. And I was like, no, because you can see something that you might want to try. You might not know how to do it, but it interests you and they want to try it on you because they have to do it with somebody. So why don't you think that you're the first person that they want to try it with?
Okay, that's an excellent topic. Okay, this is what I have learned throughout the years and then noticed it in my own life. All right, it seems as if a lot of guys do all their sexual craziness or adventuresome. I won't call it craziness. I apologize for that. All of their sexual adventures and try everything. And then they kind of settle down and get married and like, okay, I've done everything. Now it's time to come home and settle down and cool down. All right. Mm-hmm. A lot of women, I won't say all, but a lot of women are holding on and not doing everything because they were raised to save that for their husbands. And a lot of women aren't going to do certain things until they feel truly comfortable and truly safe with their partners. And that may not come year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. And so, I mean, I've seen some clients, it didn't come until year 9 when they finally, okay, I finally feel real comfortable with this client. I finally feel like, not to say this client, but with my partner. And I think, because the idea is I married you and now you have 100% trust. Mm-hmm. Like on the day we get married, bam, you get 100% trust. And that's just not the way it goes. And working with clients every day, there are a lot of women who don't feel safe with their husbands for whatever reason. Not like he gonna come in and bust her over the head, but it could be something simple like, last time we had sex, he got a little carried away and like it just hurt, Yeah. And so if I'm not feeling like I can completely let go because I might get hurt again, not that you did it on purpose, then I might be a little guarded. And so I'm not willing to try that new thing until maybe some time has passed and I feel like I can trust you now. And so I just need men to understand, and I need women to understand that usually there's completely different viewpoints on sex and what should happen. And I hear husbands like, well, I'm her husband. She should be okay doing anything with me. Yeah, I know. That's the rhetoric. Yeah. And that's just not true. And there's also sometimes still there's some people who also feel like this. Okay, now we're married. I have even more to lose. So I don't want to risk it. So maybe in a dating relationship, I would have did something freaky because I didn't care what he thought about me. Now I care what you think about me. So if we do something and you like laugh or snicker, then that might shut me down for 5 or 6 years before I try to do something else. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I think my guys either don't understand or sometimes forget how fragile we are. Like our emotions are, being vulnerable are, and then it could be sometimes just practical stuff. Like I didn't want to try that when I weighed this amount. Now that I weigh this and I've been in the gym a little bit, now I'm ready to try it. But I've been wanting to try it since I was 16. But I just reached a combination of my body being where I needed to be, me being with a partner that I truly trust with my body, and somebody who I trust with my emotions and my desires. And so I know y'all want it to be magic and all of a sudden instant trust on the day that we get married or even before that. It don't work like that. It doesn't work like that.
And I think I've preached this enough about normalizing having sex as a conversation, and because I know couples might talk about trust and things when it's in a non-sexual way, but then the trust that you might have with them in this aspect, it can't trickle down in other aspects. So I feel like if you can't trust them in every type of area in your life and your relationship, do you really have that trust? I personally don't feel the way. In all transparency, I've been in a decade relationship, and I think I had better sex in the relationship that I was in years later. That was only for a year and a half because I felt like I had a voice in the shorter relationship. It was a whole different type of person who wasn't so angry, who listened to me, who was very much catering versus a person who knew me when I was a teenager. And when I did like a certain dance move or when I started drinking, like in my mid 20s, they were like, why do you do that? That's not you. You don't do that. And I'm like, I'm not 17 anymore. Like, who are you to tell me what I don't do?
Right.
And when it comes to different things in certain aspects, I wasn't comfortable doing that because I don't want to hear your mouth. Could you have me in this box of what you saw me in?
Yes. And I
And I'm not
think,
that person anymore.
yeah. So, and I think, like all of us, sometimes we don't realize the weight and authority that our voice has. And so when a guy says something like, well, why you do that or you don't do that, then instantly I'm like, okay, I'm not safe doing that with him.
Yes. Who are you to tell me
And
about me like you wrote the book about my life?
yeah. And so you start and I feel so bad for the guys because I usually know, because actually, y'all, I feel really bad for this one guy. Because I know he wanted to date me, but it seems like in the first 5 conversations, every time I said something, he was like, well, I don't like that. And so it just made me feel like, okay, you don't like me. And I don't think he had any idea that his words were shutting me down, but they were. And so I want to say that to everybody, males and females, be conscious of your words and that your words could possibly be shutting your partner or your potential partner down before they ever get started. And so I wouldn't think that you would da 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 da, or I would da 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 da, or I don't like it, la 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 la. Yeah, you could be shutting them down. And so let's say if the relationship continues and 10 years later, now we finally done worked through those issues and we done finally got comfortable and I finally feel accepted by you. Now I can do all the freaky stuff that I wanted to do with you 10 years ago, but the relationship wasn't there. And I think everybody can admit that they said some crazy stuff 10 years ago that they wouldn't say today. Everybody can admit that. And if you can't admit that, I don't know if you've grown in the last 10 years.
Go look at your Facebook memories and see how you were writing statuses. I know I saw some stuff. I used to
Right.
write in all caps. I'm like, oh, girl, you are childish. I don't know what.
Yeah. So a sign of growth is that you look back on yourself like, oh my God, I can't believe I used to do that. That's a sign of growth. And so just be aware. Be aware. And I think we all can sometimes not be aware of how hard our words are.
Pretty much.
Yeah. All right, that's the end of our time. Any last comments in the last 1 minute?
No, no, no. I think we covered everything about
All right,
intentions.
then. We did. All right. I hope you have a weekend that is beautiful as your background.
Oh, I hope so. I'm ready to go back on vacation.
All right. All
Sorry,
right. And
vacation break.
to the world out there, we love you guys. We want the best for you guys. And if y'all need us, feel free to call us and reach out. All right. Have a great day.